Hello, in this video we are going to learn quadratic function. So first of all, let us look at the general form of a quadratic function. So general form of a quadratic function is function of fx equals ax square plus bx plus c. So this is the general form of any quadratic function. So general form. All right, so now let us of course in this video we are actually deal with mostly standard form of a quadratic function. So let us see what is the standard form. So let me use another color. So standard form of any quadratic function. The standard form of quadratic function is fx equals a x minus h square plus k. Okay, so this is the standard form of any quadratic function. Now if you notice, we basically know how to plot this type of function by shifting method. We learn it in section 2.7, where we can shift a parabola to left to up. So in any case, let me try to plot this function and see how it looks like. Okay, so if so let me plot two scenario. Let's say this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis. Now so this parabola is opening up, okay, and the vertex here is hk. Okay, so this parabola opens up, and what's the criteria for opening up? If a is greater than 0, then the parabola is going to open up and the vertex is at hk. Now let us look at the other scenario where I have, so this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis, and I still have my vertex at h point hk, and this time my parabola is opens down. Okay, so the criteria for that is if a is less than 0, then parabola opens down. So let me write down these two conclusion what we found. So what we found that for a standard form, so the standard form of parabola is a x minus h square plus k. In that parabola, the vertex of this parabola is where? Vertex of this parabola is at point hk, and if a greater than 0, then the parabola is going to open up. Okay, as in here, open up. Now also one thing we need to notice is if parabola opens up, then this hk point will be what? The minima. Okay, so when parabola opens up, I'm going to have a minima. Now if a is less than 0, so if a is less than 0, then my parabola is going to up and down. Parabola up and down, as in the second case. Now also I want to notice another one thing. When my parabola opens down, this point, the vertex point hk is what? The maxima point for my graph. Okay, so this is basically a little introduction about standard form of an parabola. So now let us try to solve a problem. So let us see the problem statement of my. Let's say I have a parabola. Okay, I have a parabola. So I have a parabola and the vertex of that parabola is, so vertex of that parabola is at -3, 4 point, and the parabola passes through this point. Okay, it is -4, 7 point. Okay, so what is our objective? Our objective is to find the equation of this quadratic function in a standard form. So what we need to do? So we need to find the equation in standard form. Okay, so find the equation of this quadratic function in standard form. So let me try to draw what we know. Okay, so let us first look at our graph. So this is my axis, x-axis and y-axis. So what are the information given? The information given is that my parabola, the vertex of my parabola is where? -3, 4. So my vertex of my parabola is at -3, 4. So let me try to draw it. So let's say this is my vertex. So it is what? -3, 4. So this is my vertex, and what is the other point? And also my parabola passes through which point? -4, 7 point. So -4, 7 is somewhere here. So this is -4, 7. Okay, so so these are the 2 points. One is the vertex, which is -3, 4, and my parabola passes through -4, 7 point. Now so let us see how we can study this problem. Okay, so first of all I want that you know that how we basically denote a vertex. We denote a vertex using hk. Okay, so in this case my h is -3 and k is 4. So what I know? I know that my vertex h equal -3 and k equals 4. So that is I already know. Now if you notice that the standard form of equation of a parabola is what? Ax minus h square plus k. So if I write the standard form of my equation of my parabola is function of x equals a x minus h square plus k. Okay, so let me now try to put the values. So what I have a, I have x minus, what is my h is -3 square plus k equals 4. So ultimately I got a x plus 3 square plus 4, and that is my function of x. Okay, so that's what I got up until now as the equation of my quadratic function. Now also notice that let me, if I may try to plot it. As you can see, if this is vertex and my parabola passes to this point, so let me preliminary try to plot it. So that's how my parabola is going to look like. Okay, so this is going to be my parabola. Okay, passes through this point. So what is, and this is the equation of my parabola. Now you notice that this particular parabola passes through which point? This -4, 7 point. So this parabola passes through which point? Where x equals -4 and y equals 7 point. So now let me put the value of x here and put the value of y, which is function of x. We know that y equal to function of x. So if I try to put the value, what I get? I got 7, y equals 7 equals a is a, I do not know the values of a, and x, what is the value of x? -4. So -4 plus 3 square plus 4. So ultimately what I get? I get 7 equals a -1 square plus 4. So it is 3 equals a. So a equals 3. Alright, so now let's put back the values of a here. If I put back the values of a, what I get? The function of x equals a equals 3, and then x plus 3 square plus 4. So this is the final equation of my quadratic function in standard form. Okay, so that's the final answer. So in the next video we are going to see the procedure of graphing a quadratic function, and then we are going to learn